And rising wealth gap is a big worry for Canada. Latest data suggests that the gap between rich and poor widened at the fastest pace between January and March 2023.
Today we're embarking on a journey to unravel the enigmatic world of Canada's wealth. While it might seem luxurious on the surface, there's more to the story than what meets the eye. In this eye-opening episode, we'll dive deep into the complexity of Canada's wealth, explore the deceptive aspects, and discuss why it may not be as opulent as it appears. So grab your investigative hats because we're about to uncover the hidden truths behind Canada's prosperity. Canada is often seen as a wealthy country with a high standard of living. However, there are a number of factors that make this wealth deceptive. One contributing element is Canada's high cost of living. The high prices of housing, food and transportation in Canada can make it challenging for some people to make ends meet. Furthermore, Canada has hefty taxes, which further lower people's discretionary income. The high degree of inequality in Canada is another element that contributes to the country's misleading wealth. 20% of Canadians are impoverished, with less than 1% of the nation's wealth owned by the richest 1% of the population. This indicates that not everyone in Canada is benefiting equally from prosperity. And last, Canada's natural resources are a major source of its prosperity. The nation exports a significant amount of minerals, gas and oil. However, the prices of these commodities can fluctuate wildly, which can make Canada's economy vulnerable to shocks. Let us examine a few particular instances of how this misleading prosperity of Canada affects lives. Housing. In recent years, housing costs in Canada have increased significantly, in addition to making it more difficult for people to afford to buy homes. This has increased the number of homeless persons. Food is also very expensive in Canada. This is particularly valid for wholesome fresh meals. People might find it challenging to afford a nutritious diet as a result. In Canada, transportation is also quite expensive. This is especially valid for those who own cars. People may find it more difficult to move around as a result, particularly in rural regions. Canada has hefty taxes. This can make it difficult for people to save money and get ahead. The advantage of the nation's wealth are not dispersed equally in Canada due to the high level of inequality there. Crime and poverty are two societal issues that may result from this. Canada's natural resources are its main source of riches. These commodities have highly variable pricing, which might leave Canada's economy open to shocks. Canada is dealing with severe economic difficulties. High expense of life, inequality, and the nation's dependency on natural resources are all factors in its economic difficulties. Apart from these obstacles, Canada is confronted with several more economic issues. This encompasses the worldwide epidemic. COVID-19 epidemic has caused supply chain disruptions and other major effects on the Canadian economy. Energy costs have skyrocketed as a result of the conflict in Ukraine, severely straining Canada's economy. To fight inflation, the Bank of Canada is increasing interest rates. This raises the cost of borrowing money for investments by firms, as well as the cost of borrowing money for house purchases by consumers. These difficulties are probably going to cause Canada's economy to suffer for a long while, but it is crucial to keep in mind that Canada has an economy that has strong and resilient citizens. By implementing the appropriate policies, Canada can overcome these obstacles and emerge stronger than ever before. Let us examine some actions that the Canadian government may take to resolve the economic issues facing the nation. Tax subsidies for the first-time homeowners, a crackdown on overseas real estate speculators, and an increase in the availability of affordable housing units are ways that the government might reduce the cost of housing. By lowering taxes on nutritious food, supporting farmers with subsidies, and making investments in the infrastructure needed for food distribution and transportation, they can lower the cost of food. By subsidising electric vehicles, lowering gasoline taxes, and making investments in public transit, the government can lower the cost of transportation. Raising the minimum wage, imposing more taxes on the rich, and growing social programs are further ways they might lessen inequality. By assisting small enterprises and making investments in emerging markets and technology, the government may contribute to economic diversification. It will need a coordinated effort from the government, corporations, and individuals to address these issues. But in order to create a more successful and just future for Canada, this must be done. A variety of issues are plaguing Canadian households, such as growing costs and deteriorating economic circumstances. The financial well-being of many Canadians is being significantly impacted by these issues, which have been accumulating for decades. Now let us explore some of the major issues that Canadian households are now experiencing. In recent years, Canada's cost of living has been gradually increasing. Numerous reasons such as inflation, growing housing costs, and rising food and transportation expenses are to blame for this. The economy of Canada has been contracting lately. This is caused by several things such as the war in Ukraine, the worldwide pandemic, and growing interest rates. In Canada, wages have not increased in the past few years. This indicates that the expense of living is increasing faster than people's salaries. Debt levels among Canadian families are high. They are therefore more susceptible to economic shocks. The Bank of Canada has raised interest rates due to inflation, which is making it harder for Canadians to pay off their debt. In recent years, a huge number of Canadians have taken on big mortgages. Numerous variables such as cheap borrowing rates and soaring home prices are to blame for this. However, servicing these mortgages becomes more expensive as interest rates rise. People's ability to make ends meet is likewise becoming more challenging due to the growing cost of living. This indicates that in order to pay their bills, consumers are having to reduce their expenditure. This can lead to a decline in the quality of life for many Canadians. The Canadian government is tackling these issues heads on. For instance, the government has raised the old age security pension and the Canada Child Benefit. In addition, the government has implemented several initiatives to assist citizens with housing, food and transportation expenses. But more work has to be done to address the issues that Canadian households are experiencing. The government must take more action to increase salaries, generate employment, and lower the cost of housing. Additionally, the government must assist citizens in lowering their debt loads. The government may contribute to the creation of a more affluent and just future by tackling these issues in Canada. For those Canadians who are having financial difficulties, there are some pointers. Establish a budget first. You can find areas where you can make savings by tracking your income and spending the use of the budget. Credit card debt and other high-interest loans can be quite costly. Paying off this debt as soon as you can is your main priority. Look around for more affordable insurance quotes. Rates for insurance might differ greatly between companies. Spend some time comparing prices to get the greatest offer. Cook more regularly at home. Dining out may be costly. You may reduce your food expenses by cooking more at home. Benefit from low cost and free activities. In most areas, there are plenty of free or inexpensive activities to choose from. Make the most of these opportunities to cut costs on recreation and amusement. In case you are facing financial difficulties, several government initiatives are available to assist you. An important worry for the Canadian economy is the increase in unemployment. The unemployment rate increased from 5 to 5.5%, and analysts predict that it will reach 6.5% next year. This implies that a growing number of people will find it difficult to make ends meet and will be even more difficult for people to afford poor levels of mortgage. For the Canadians who are having financial difficulties paying their mortgages, the first thing you should do if you're having trouble paying your mortgage is get in touch with your lender. They might be able to help you in other ways, including deferring your payment. If the rate on your mortgage is too high, you might want to compare rates. Refinancing your mortgage or moving to a different lender can allow you to save money. If at all feasible, attempt to boost your income by taking on a side gig or part-time work. This might assist you in paying off debt and your mortgage. Examine your spending carefully to identify areas where you might make savings. This can enable you to free up funds so that you can make your mortgage payments. There are several government programs that might assist you if you are having trouble paying your mortgage. For instance, there are several programs available from the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation (CHMC) to assist borrowers with their mortgage payments. In general, Canada is a wealthy nation, yet its riches are misleading. Many Canadians find it difficult to profit from the nation's prosperity due to the high cost of living, inequality, and dependency on natural resources. If you found this video entertaining and informative, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps us out. If you want more exciting content, don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our latest uploads and drop a comment down below to share your thoughts.